All right, good day to you. My name is Fred Oakman, and as always with me today is Mr. Jake Peters. We are PS This Is Awesome, a PlayStation podcast. This is episode 151. This is a show where we share our feelings about the current state of PlayStation. But before we get on with the show, I'd like to invite you all to subscribe to our channel on YouTube and visit us on Twitter and Tumblr. If you want to make fun of our trophy list on the PSN, you can find me at anchorless_81 and Mr. Jake Peters at jakesaw01. And as always, you can write the show at psthisisawesome@gmail.com. But most importantly, don't forget to share the show with your friends and be sure to leave comments and rate the podcast as you see fit. And I know that will be 5 stars across the board because everyone tells us what a great podcast we have. Jake, how are you today, sir?
I am doing just fine. Really busy, so kind of tired. I played hockey last night, so it always sucks playing hockey on a work night. I mean, I have fun, but when I play hockey on a work night, I cannot sleep after I play. So usually I don't sleep at all the night after. And as things go, last night I didn't fucking sleep at all. So I'm pretty tired today, but generally I'm doing pretty good.
Good. Happy to hear it. I think it's kind of crazy that the older you get, we're both kind of, I would say, definitely adults at this point in our lives, but the things that you find the most enjoyment out of almost sometimes become like another chore to add to the list because you're saddled with so much bullshit you have to do every day of your life that by the time it comes time to do something you really would like to do, you're almost just too tired for it. You're like, if I do this, then I'm going to be too tired to do the shit I have to do. So I kind of get that way about our podcast sometimes, if I'm being honest. I was kind of tired today, but we didn't do one over the weekend, and now it's already Tuesday. And it just feels like, to keep this ball rolling, to keep whatever traction we have built back up after we've started doing the podcast again, it makes sense to just keep at it. But yeah, I went for a 3.25 mile run after work today, worked all day. And then I came home, grabbed a shower, cooked some dinner. I think you've got some food in the oven right now. So man, you just got to make time for the things you love to do. It's important, man.
Oh yeah, it's definitely something that you got to do. And sometimes it's unfortunate when you're an adult, you almost have to force yourself to do things. I mean, it's part of the reason why I joined the band and everything is because I knew, because I have so much other stuff that I have to do responsibly, that if I didn't play in a band where I had some measure of accountability, I would never play music. It's one of those things where you kind of have to force yourself to make time. Otherwise you just get drowned out in responsibility, and that's no good for anyone.
No, you're absolutely right. That's a great point, man. Hey, so I've been drinking, I don't know if you know this, but I don't drink coffee. I can't drink coffee for whatever reason. I don't like coffee. I will drink iced coffee, but I don't like the hot coffee. I just don't like it. That's not a Grand Theft Auto reference, but it could be. I do like hot tea, and that's my beverage of choice in the mornings. And I went to the bistro here on Saturday to get breakfast, and I ordered hot tea. Usually I get the breakfast blend or the Earl Grey or the British blend. They have that little carafe. It's not a carafe. It's like some sort of tray. They bring out all the different tea bags on when we order hot tea at a restaurant. And anyways, pulled out what I thought was just straight Earl Grey tea, and I put it in. It was the old Bigelow tea. And it was Raspberry Royale, which is amazing. It's the best tea I've ever had. So I went directly on Amazon and bought 6 cases of it. So I'm stalked. It's so good. It's if you're a tea drinker, I highly recommend it to the listeners. It is your regular traditional black tea with a hint of raspberry in there, and it's such a good taste. So, Jake, do you drink coffee?
Yeah, I actually drink coffee and tea, but typically when I drink tea, it's because either I'm sick or because I want to relax. So, in the mornings, I drink coffee, and sometimes in the evenings, I'll drink any and every flavor of sleepy time tea. So usually chamomile and lavender and stuff like that helps you kind of calm down. But typically I don't drink tea. The only time I drink tea other than that is if I'm sick and I want something soothing, like throat coat tea, echinacea, things like that. I've had some of the fruitier teas that I like. I like some of the fruitier teas, but I'm not. I have a really I don't know. I have a really rough relationship with raspberry because I had a bad experience with raspberry vodka in college. So even though I like raspberry, it's one of those things where I really like raspberry, but there will be times where I'll go to drink it and I'll just have this visceral response to it where it kind of makes me nauseous a little bit. So it's like hit or miss whether or not I can drink raspberry something. But I do think that teas
That's
like
crazy.
that are very good, especially if you're not an avid tea drinker. You pick something with a little fruit in it or something, and it really sweetens the deal. No pun intended.
Yeah, this tea really does it for me. And like I said, I am an avid tea drinker. I drink a lot of different teas. Sorry if you hear it jingling in the background. I have this necklace, and I was trying to take it off while you were talking because all I can hear is it jingling around. But yeah, I like tea a lot. And I think maybe what took me more by surprise was that I thought I was getting the regular black tea, but it had a little tinge of raspberry. And I was like, oh my God, what's this? And I don't know that you can find this in the store. I've never come across this in the store. And I do a lot of tea shopping when I'm at the grocery store. But anyways, I went on Amazon. I bought a ton of it. So I'm stocked for the winter. So I'm so excited. Moving forward, man, talking about video games a little bit. I'm still playing Ghost of Tsushima, but I did get to Act 3. And the listeners are probably just so fucking sick of listening to us talk about that. And like, we don't have anything new to talk about. No new games. Are you playing anything new?
Not even a little bit. I am playing Ghost of Tsushima. I did get to like the end of Act 2. Like, I think I'm on the last mission of Act 2. There's the I mean, you probably remember, I don't want to give anything away to the audience, but like the last kind of mission of Act 2 is like a sequence of a couple missions. And so I'm like in the midst of that. Like, I'm on the last part of that to get into Act 3.
Okay.
Part of the problem is that, I basically wanted to, like, after I basically unlocked the last sequence of missions for Act 2. And then as soon as I did that, before I started that out, I had to go around and finish everybody's Tale story arc, get them all up to date, do like all of the musician quests that I wanted to do. I actually fucking didn't even do any of like the optional side quests that aren't tied to a Tale and aren't tied to like one of the musician things. I didn't do any of them. And dude, I looked at my freaking save games. My first save game for this, and that wasn't even when I started. It was probably 5 hours in. My first save game was from over a month ago. So I've been playing this fucking game for like 6 weeks now, and I haven't even reached Act 3 yet. And I read a review somewhere where someone was talking about like, oh yeah, if you do all the stuff and you get whatever, the game is about like 30 to 40 hours. That's fucking bullshit. I mean, maybe it just seems like it's taken that long because I only play it for 1 to 2 hours a day. But like in some days, if I'm busy, I'll only play it for like 45 minutes or something. But it seems like I've been playing this game forever. And, that's, to be fair, every time we talk about how long it's taken us to play this game, none of it is in, like, I'm not saying anything bad about it. Like, that doesn't make it a bad game. Like, it's a great game and everything. It's just that, like, I'm so busy and everything. It's, one of those things where I'd like to kind of be able to move on. I'm starting to have trouble, like, maintaining my attention. Although I am getting pretty good at the combat, which is making the combat a lot more fun. It's still one of those things where, like, the combat is challenging. So whenever you get, especially when you fight like the Straw Hat guys and they just like totally fuck you up, when you're used to fighting the Mongols,
they're really
fast. Up to, like the Straw Hat guys and they just fuck you up, especially whenever like the parry shit doesn't work all that well and everything. And yeah, they're super fast. But as soon as you go through, if you're going to play this game, do everything you can to find like all of the bamboo strikes, to find all of the spas or the hot springs, and to find all of the fox dens, because that will like pump up your character to give you better health, more resolve, which you need to reheal yourself and to use special attacks, and it will give you charm slots to be able to improve your character. And then the other thing too is to go out of your way at the beginning of the game to do all of the outposts and stuff you can, to kill all of the leaders the outpost leaders that you can, to unlock all the stances early. Because it really, really helps to have unlocked all of the stances to be able to handle all the different enemy types. I think for as simple as the combat is technically, it's very fun and it's really like challenging. Dude, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. I know I'm rambling. I just played this mission a couple of days ago and you've probably played it. It's when you're doing the tale with the monk. Like, I'm not going to go into huge detail about it, and I got to this mission where you have to like essentially take back this temple. And it's just like waves and waves of enemies keep coming in. And I think that like the game glitched on me because I believe the monk is supposed to be in there with me, helping me beat back all of these guys, but he got stuck on the outside of the thing. And so I literally was stuck fighting, like, I'm not even fucking joking, probably 25 Mongols by myself. So I had to like, you know,
it's amazing.
Throw like a bomb, like chop them up a little bit, then run away, then come back and try and peel a guy off and kill him. Cause you know, you have to kill people to get resolve back to heal yourself. Like it was a little bit weird.
The combat loop's great.
And there was another glitch that I found in the game that Sarah and I have been kind of joking about. It's been a little bit of an inside joke or inside meme in our house where there's one of these missions where I don't remember if it was a musician mission or what it was, but you have to like find, it was one of the musician missions because you're trying to find this tomb, and the giveaway is you have to follow these blue flowers, right? And you might remember this mission if you played it. And so Jin, who's the main character, he's got this internal monologue, like this. He's like talking to himself, and he's one of the things that he says is when you find this patch of blue flowers, he says more blue flowers, but like he's like, oh, more blue flowers, but the game glitched and he said more blue flowers like in a row, like 3 times, like more blue flowers, more blue flowers, more blue flowers, and it like instantly made me think of like this fucking techno beat in my head where he's just like saying this over and over again. And it like Sarah was sitting there watching me when this happened. And so now it's just like so every now and again we'll kind of joke about that. But other than that, I mean, like those are very harmless glitches, right? There hasn't been any game breaking bugs or anything for me. I don't know about you.
There's been situations where I've tried to jump onto something ever since they rolled out the latest update, and they haven't rolled out the new DLC, the free DLC for it, but they did roll out an update to the game, a patch or something, where I never had this prior to that, but I would jump and I would get somehow on top of a rock or up on top of some sort of ledge that maybe I shouldn't have been on. And your guy will just hold the pose as if he's in midair, and he just slides and he slides and he slides and he slides. And if he lands on ground, great, the game will resume. But if he gets stuck, it'll pretend like he died and just respawn you like right where you jumped. It's really weird. And it's the only glitch that I've really encountered with the game. But I only recently started encountering it. So it might be related to the latest update. I'm not sure.
That could be. I noticed one of the things that I've had trouble with is, and it seems really stupid, like I always have trouble getting on ladders. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, there's like it's not like I sit there for 10 minutes and I struggle to climb on a ladder. But it seems like every fucking time I go to get on a ladder, I miss it. And I don't know if I'm the only one that has this problem, but it's a struggle.
If I had to say anything about the game that is the most flawed, it's probably like the environment traversal, like the climbing on rocks, like the parkour stuff, like getting on the little lines that you can run across, climbing ladders, even like, this isn't a spoiler because it's in the trailer, but even like using the grappling hook sometimes doesn't really quite work the way you think it's going to work. But luckily the reload times are so fast in this game, it's never really problematic. And it seems to make really good save states when it reloads you back into the game. Like, so it's really actually, that's the one thing I will praise the game is like anytime I die, I'm never like restarting a whole part again. It always puts me like almost, I mean, if you're raiding like a village or something, sure. But it seems like it puts you about as close to where you died as it possibly can. And I love that about it. And the reload time's so fast. So I can appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's really nice about it. There's almost zero reloading. And when it does reload, it reloads really quickly.
Jake, I was on YouTube the other day, last night, actually, just before I go to bed. That's my routine. I'll put on YouTube and just watch some stuff. And I saw this video about a clan that exists in Red Dead Redemption Part 2. And they were talking about how it's the most difficult clan to become a member of. And they literally vet every person. There's an application form to become part of this clan. They're called the Reaper Lords. Have you ever heard of this clan?
Dude, I'll be honest with you. As soon as I finished Red Dead Redemption 2. I love that game to death, but that was like 100 hours of my life, and I needed to kind of sign off on it. So I haven't and I never gave a crap about the online stuff. So I haven't even looked at a single Red Dead Redemption thing, I think, since I finished playing it.
Yeah. So there's 80 members to this clan, and out of 1,000 applicants, they only pick one person. So it's like the most difficult clan to get into. And they let this journalist go into their online world and watch. It's almost like boot camp for people. Like they'll let everybody into like the room, and like all these guys will get in a line with their characters. And like they literally have guards. They have people in the clan that are just guards for like the main guy's house. And they log in and they literally just post guard out front of his house while he's playing. It's crazy. Like they're the most rigid clan I've ever seen. But like they'll get like all these guys in line, these characters, and they're called brown shirts because they're all like trying to become part of this clan, the Reaper Lords. And they'll have a guy just holding like a musket in front of the one guy. Like they'll be like, okay, Jake Saw, step forward. And then like as a character, you got to step forward. And then they're like, why do you want to be part of the Reaper Lords? And then you got to like give like a legit answer. And like, if they don't agree with what you say, they kill you. And then you can't even become part of their clan. And they do this with everybody. And like, they do like, they'll fill out an entire room. So I don't even know how many people you can get into a room in Red Dead 2 right now. I think it's probably 60, maybe it's less, maybe it's 30 some, but they'll have like a legit person in the clan. They'll hog tie them. And they'll go to some random place and put him somewhere. And they do training for their clan. And like, okay, so, half of us are going to guard this guy. The other half have to go take him, and get away. And like the one guy that's in the clan, it's literally his job to be hogtied and just be in the room so he can be the object that they're trying to acquire. Like these guys are insane. And like, it was really cool because the YouTube video actually had video of all this stuff. And like you'll see these guys, they ride single file when they're riding on trails. Like no one gets out of line. No one questions the leaders. If they do, they get kicked out of the clan, and they work so hard to be part of it. They're like ridiculous. Like they actually have like each other's cell phone numbers and stuff. And they, like if they're getting into it with another group, like they call for backup, and you have to go back people up or else you get kicked out. Like, so it's just insane. But you need to watch this video. They're called the Reaper Lords. And it was like a 28-minute documentary on this clan. It wasn't created by the clan themselves. It was like some other guy that was like really interested in their vetting process and like what they're all about. And they raise money for donations and all kinds of interesting stuff. Like it was probably the coolest thing I've ever seen in like an online game. Like it's the most legit thing you can come to having an actual gang of outlaws in Red Dead 2 because they are driven by a code. It's so crazy. It's so wild. I think you would love to watch it. It's very interesting. Enough about the Reaper Lords, man.
I was going to say, that's pretty interesting. I know like in a lot of these online worlds, some people just take it to the next level, and I'll never in my entire life understand it. I mean, going back to like the original World of Warcraft days, or even before that, like Ultima Online, there was all these like clans get insane, even in stuff like Counter-Strike and all that kind of crap. Like some of the craziest stuff that I've ever heard of, like you're talking about, has happened in EVE Online, which I know we don't really ever talk about or anything because it's all PC stuff. We're not really into that all that much. But like some of the shit that has gone on in the EVE Online universe over the years is like absolutely insane. Like guys going undercover to like infiltrate enemy in quotes, organizations, and like staying undercover in there for like 2 years to raise themselves to the top and then completely dismantling them from the inside. Like fucking crazy stuff. It's really like this type of, I would even borderline to say fanaticism for a game is absolutely fascinating to me. I do not understand it. Like, don't get me wrong. I love video games as a whole, like as a media, as a platform. I love the art of it. I love the news and the stories surrounding it. But dude, you're never going to fucking get me to commit to playing any game. I don't give a shit what it is. You'll never get me to commit to any game where I would be beholden to some wank playing fucking Red Dead 2 telling me to, you know, giving me orders and shit, or else like he's gonna kick me out of his game. You know, like it's just that type of thing. Like I don't need that amount of role playing in my video games. You know, it's almost like virtual LARPing, which is so weird.
Yeah, it's so cool though. I put a link there in our chat if you want to look at that. But like, it's so neat to see an established outlaw group riding through a town online, and you're just like, I would not mess with that group. Like that, those dudes are real deal. You know what I mean? Like they ride like in order. Like if you saw a group of like 18 to 20 cowboys, like all just working together, like not running around and going crazy and shooting their guns and like killing random innocents, but like literally just going through a town and like walking into a bar somewhere in RDR2 online. Like that would be so awesome to witness those guys. They say like when they roll around and stuff, people will just take screenshots and like once in a while people will mess with them, he said, but they tend to regret it. But the way the guy was explaining it was that I think he came from a military background, and he said that like, you know, it's like one of those things where you can give an online game much more actual meaning, and like you could play online with a bunch of people you have no idea who they are. You could actually build like a relationship with a group of people and do that journey with other people, you know, and share a level of respect for one another and play the game together and be on the same page while you do it. And it actually enhance the fun. I think pretty much once you're in, you're in. But I'm sure there are some things that can get people kicked out once they're in. I don't know. But for the most part, it seems like once you go through the whole vetting process, which I think takes months, you know, if you get selected, then you're in. But I guess they also have a motorcycle gang in GTA 5. So that's kind of interesting. But enough about them. News, Jake. Sony posted a link. Did you? LJ got a hold of me. He said, hey, man, make sure you do this. On Sony's website, you could put your PlayStation handle and indicate that you want to be notified or have the opportunity to be notified to maybe be one of the first people to be able to pre-order the PS5, because we know there's going to be limited consoles. Did you see this? It's such a weird thing to do. It's so exclusive sounding. I mean, I appreciate the opportunity to do that, Sony, but I mean, it just seems like maybe you're not ready to release this thing. If you have to go to this level of like, I don't know, it's just so weird. Jake?
I'm sure that I did see it. I mean, you sent it to me and I kind of went on and I signed on or whatever, and I put my username in there or whatever, but I have to imagine that this isn't going to be a prioritized sort of notification for pre-orders. I have to imagine probably what's going to happen is that they're going to use that kind of sign up to notify you via email that like, hey, on Friday, September 11th, right, we're going to announce all of the pre-order and pricing details and everything like that. So like it's more of a kind of like, hey, here's, you know, when like here's how you get more information and all that kind of stuff. But there's no way that they're gonna have this fucking secret. It's not secret, but it's like they didn't advertise this sign up on their website. You know, there's no way they're gonna have that be like the be all of who gets a console. You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, but I mean, maybe there it is. I mean, it's just such a weird maneuver. I mean, granted, people places like Best Buy and all these other Amazon, Walmart, they're all going to have consoles for sale too. But I think this is Sony's way of saying thank you for already having a PlayStation unit, and we want to make sure that you are at least in the loop, kind of like what you're saying. But the way it was worded made it seem that you would have an opportunity to be one of the first to pre-order it. So is there going to be a pre-order, you think?
No fucking way. There's no way in hell. The world would literally burn to the ground in the video game sphere if they tried to do some sort of prioritization thing like that. I guarantee you what it's going to be is that like most people are not going to just be notified when pre-orders go live. So if you sign up for this, they will notify you right when pre-orders go live. And so like most people are just going to have to keep waiting and looking on the internet to see when it happens. But you, because you signed up, will get a notification to say that it's going on. I guarantee you that that's the extent of it, because like I said, if they were to do something like this, where it's like, even though it's like, yeah, we appreciate you for being a PlayStation fan, blah 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 blah. They can do that shit for games and stuff because there's infinite copies and crap like that. But I would literally be shocked if there was some sort of prioritization for previous owners or whatever, because I guarantee you that there's going to be, even with this secret sign up thing, there's probably going to be a fucking 2 million people sign up for this thing. And so what's it going to be that like all the people that wait for Best Buy to put up their pre-orders or Target or whatever, like they don't get it because they got to pull stock from, you know what I mean? So I doubt that that's going to happen.
They're just going to go alphabetical. So thank God my username is Anchorless. So I'm going to be one of the first probably to own a PS5, saying it now. And Mark Cerny is probably going to call me and congratulate me on being the first person to pre-order the PS5. So when that happens, I'll get him on the show. Moving forward, the DualSense controller is going to be able to interpret sounds from video games and then translate that into haptic feedback. So that's kind of nice. So maybe that means that it won't just be Sony exclusives that have neat haptics going on the controller as far as the feeling. So that's nice that there's some sort of easy code that they wrote into the system that can translate it into haptics. I can't even wrap my mind around what this controller is going to feel like. I mean, they're really talking a big game on this thing. I mean, if I get this thing in my hands and it just feels like Rumble, I'm going to be very disappointed. Jake?
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. You have to imagine that they're going to do something like that. It's probably one of those things where it's like, the developer has a choice of whether or not they want to do their own like specific like programmed haptic feedback for the game, or they can let the PS5 kind of natively just sort of kind of interpret the game and give you some haptic feedback dynamically, just like consoles, like new consoles can sort of, without the need for the developers to program it in, the consoles can kind of natively just up-res whatever the fuck you put into it. Like it's just kind of a thing that the console can do, the hardware can do. It's probably something like that, whereas like the developer can choose to make it awesome and tailor it to their game, or they can just say, fuck it, let the console kind of do whatever the hell it wants, and the console will be able to do like dynamically apply haptic feedback. I'm assuming that will be able to be turned on and off, I imagine.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, speaking of improvements coming to the PS5, Sony also apparently has not given up on PlayStation VR. There was a financial report, according to Push Square, and it was written in quotes, Sony plans to provide content for a variety of game genres and formats, ... and make advances in unique and interactive experiences such as VR. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, and it's nice talk, but it does seem like they are not giving up on VR, which I'm super stoked about, as we're going to talk about some of the Gamescom trailers, and the one that I'm most excited about was the old Star Wars Squadrons, which looks amazing, but we'll get to that in a second. Jake, any opinion on VR? I think we've already kind of talked about it. You want it to be wireless. You want it to be easy to use. You want it to be interfaced with the PS5 so you don't have all the breakout box and all that bullshit. So anything else you'd like to add about the VR?
Not particularly, no.
All right, moving forward then. PS5 also is getting rid of their optical out. Now, I don't have a PS Pro, but I guess the Pro doesn't have it either, but the original PS4 did or does, and I do use it because I have an optical thing on my sound system here at the house. So, Jake, what kind of sound are you using out of your PS4, your OG PS4? Are you using just HDMI sound, or are you running it with an optical out cord?
Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm running all of my devices to my television. So like my PS5 or PS4 and my Xbox and my Super Nintendo and shit like that. They're all going directly into my TV, and then my television has an optical out that goes to my sound system. So basically I just turn on my sound system and it plays whatever comes in on the optical in, and then my TV just puts out everything on that optical out, no matter what input you have selected. So I think that's how mine is. Unaffected by this. I'm unaffected by this, assuming that the new TV I buy with 4K does the same thing.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I from what I understand, optical cables for sound and whatnot are kind of a thing of the past already. It's like they had their moment, but I guess they're done. Jake, now you, of most anybody, I would say that I know in our game sphere, are probably, well, definitely between us, you're the bigger Resident Evil fan. And definitely between most people that I know who play video games, you're the biggest Resident Evil fan. And I know you've seen the movies. Did you see that Resident Evil is now going to have its own show on Netflix?
I did see a brief kind of blurb about that. And I think like with The Witcher, it's been kind of shown that TV series sort of lend themselves better as a better platform for video game kind of screen adaptations. And I think that they could do a really interesting sort of thing with it. You know, hopefully they kind of keep it tight and tidy like they did with The Witcher, and they don't make it this like sprawling thing like with the, and I'm still afraid they're going to do this with The Witcher too. Like The Walking Dead, I just hope it's not The Walking Dead, right? Because The Walking Dead had a really good first season, and then it just like exponentially declined after the first season, in my personal opinion. And because they just needed to like, they had to add antagonists, and it became less about like the zombies and stuff. And that's, you know, here nor there whether or not you think that that's a good thing. But like Resident Evil, they could make a really interesting story surrounding Umbrella and Raccoon City and all of that kind of stuff. They could, there's a lot of things that they could explore if they make the TV show kind of surrounding the world of Resident Evil, and not necessarily try to tell like the story of Chris Redfield. You know what I mean? And so I don't know what they're going to try to do with it. But I think if they're going to do another screen adaptation of Resident Evil, a TV show is probably the best way to do it. I just hope that they kind of keep it concise and keep it kind of like a good story, as opposed to making this thing thinking it's like, okay, we're going to do this fucking 10-season arc, because it's just going to be bad if they try to do that with it. I'd rather have one good season and have them never do a second season than have them do this like, try to make it this sprawling thing, because it always ends up shitty no matter what.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure if it's going to be live action or not. I'm guessing it is. I know they have the Castlevania series, which is a cartoon. The Witcher series is live action. It's more so based on the books than the games, though. So, yeah, I'm curious to see this. I'm all in on Resident Evil. You know, Halloween's coming up. It's not going to be airing this year, I don't believe, but I am in the mood for some creepy stuff. So we did get our PS Plus games. When we get them yet, but they are announced, and we will be getting Street Fighter V and PUBG, which is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which is a really big battle royale game. Don't really care about that, but I do like me some Street Fighter, but I think I have this game. I'm not certain, but a lot of the PS Plus games we've been getting for free, I've already pulled the trigger on.
I don't care at all about Street Fighter V. The last time I cared about a fighting game was Super Street Fighter 2 on Super Nintendo. Okay, with little exception, like I played in the PlayStation era, I played Tekken 3 a shitload. But
don't forget our Street Fighter tournament we held.
Man. Yeah, I know. I'm not a big fighting game fan. I will be honest, I'm not a big online gamer. PUBG is actually really fun. And that's coming from someone who played it like when it was still in early access on PC at launch, and they've added so much shit to it since then. I have a buddy at work who still plays it all the time. It can be very fun, and that's coming from someone who doesn't like online games at all. So if you have any interest in like literally the OG Battle Royale game, play PUBG, because it is legit. It's lost some traction over the years because of, you know, the like atrocities like Fortnite, who come in and just clean house. PUBG, I'll never play Fortnite, but I could see myself jumping back into PUBG. I had fun playing that game. You know, I know you said that you have no interest in it, Fred, but you know, I would honestly
I'd play it if you wanted to play it.
If you have any, I would honestly recommend that if you had any interest in like these types of games, or you're interested in the Battle Royale genre, or even if you like Fortnite and you want to know where the hell it started, play PUBG, because it's like Fortnite without all the crafting crap, without all the cartoony stuff. And it's like It's like if I can't even describe because it's the original. It's like what you should be saying is Fortnite is fucking PUBG with crafting and cartoony horseshit, and like Apex Legends is PUBG but more cartoony in the Titanfall universe. Like all these games originated because of PUBG. So if you guys have any interest in Battle Royale, play it especially because you're getting it for free. It's a good game. Period.
Cool. Thanks for that. There was a Kingdoms of Amalur re-reckoning trailer that came out. Did you see that? And Jake, did you ever play the original game? It's a super big talked about game. The original, that is. I know it came out on PS3. I want to say we got it on Plus for PS3 at one point, but I played it briefly. If this is the same game that I'm thinking of, it didn't really grab me. It didn't really grip me, but I know people are super stoked about this. So that's kind of nice that they're getting a whole remake. There might be a remaster. God, I don't know. But anyways, I know they're doing it and the trailer came out and it looked pretty. It looked nice. Jake, did you ever play that game?
So here's the confusing thing about that game, because when we did get it on Plus, but like within the same few months or half a year that we got Kingdoms of Amalur, we also got Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, which is another action RPG, fantasy action RPG. And so, which is also a well-regarded action RPG. So it's kind of easy to mix those two up. If I played that game, I literally booted it up and played it for maybe an hour. But like you said, a lot of people talk a lot of praise on that game. So that may be one of those games where if I can like snatch it on sale or something or get it relatively inexpensive, it would be a great kind of backlog type game. After playing The Last of Us and playing Ghost of Tsushima and all this, like I'm so fucking burnt out on these like long stretched out open world, like total time sink kind of games. Like I really need a palate cleanser. I need like a guacamole. I need like a, like a sound shapes, something like that. Like I need something like that before I jump into something like Kingdoms of Amalur, because I'm just like, the idea of playing another game, jumping into a new game where I'm playing one game for fucking 2 months is just, because you think about it, right around the corner when the PS5 launches, we've got Cyberpunk coming out. So it's like, dude, I gotta get some like, some other shit. Miles Morales won't be as long as the original one. They've kind of already announced that it's going to be a bit of a, it's still going to be open world. It's still going to be kind of crazy, but like, yeah, man, I am interested in giving this game a try, but it's going to have to wait. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know when it's launching. Did they say when it's launching?
No, I don't think so. They might have, but I didn't. If they did, I didn't write it down. So Gamescom happened, Jake. Gamescom happened. You got to give it up to what's his face, the old Game Awards guy. I can't remember his name right now, but he put on Keeley. Yeah, he put on quite a nice opening night there. If anyone was tuned in, it was throwback to how things used to be in the game world. So shout out to Jeff for doing that. That was super enjoyable to watch. Although a lot of the announcements weren't specifically groundbreaking, and they did preface the whole show by saying they wouldn't be, but we'd be getting additional information. There was some good stuff that was shown, and I wanted to keep it broken down, Jake, to games that are specific to Sony, games that are at least going to be on the PlayStation platform. So there were a lot of different things that were shown at Gamescom, but I'm going to run through the list here. I don't know if you had a chance to watch any of this stuff, but as Jake rifles through his drawer looking for a pack of Earl Grey tea, he's probably just lighting up a stogie. He's ready to go. Talk some Gamescom.
I was actually
no, it's good. So games coming to PlayStation. Call of Duty Cold War. We got a little elongated of a trailer for that game. That game looks fine. It looks interesting to me. I'll probably rent it. To believe it or not, you can rent those games at Redbox. So I don't need to buy it, but I probably will rent it. It looks interesting. Opinions on Call of Duty Cold War, Jake? Anything that you've seen you like to talk about? We talked a bit about it last episode.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think my opinion has really changed all that much. A Call of Duty is a Call of Duty is a Call of Duty. So, like you, I would be definitely interested in kind of like a rental program sort of thing where I could just play the campaign or whatever. And I really wish that Call of Duty would just come out and release the campaign separately from the multiplayer for like $20 or $30 or something like that. But I know they never will.
Dude, $19.99.
I don't think they ever will, because the problem is that the campaign is by far the most expensive part of the game to make, and it's the shortest amount of time to play. So they sell this game, they sell the multiplayer basically to fund the single player, I think. At least that's kind of sort of what I expect is probably going on. But if we could ever get that like kind of split off, even if it was half the price, even if it was $30 and you just got the single player, I'd be down with that.
Yeah, I agree. Next up was Dragon Age 4. They didn't really show anything except for some concept art, and all the staff members that they had on camera seemed pretty enthusiastic about the game. Jake, you and I both played Dragon Age, and I had mixed, I don't know, I had kind of a mixed experience. I didn't really like the combat. I thought the story was good. You know, it was a fun game, but I didn't like the way the combat was handled. And I hope they do something different in Dragon Age 4, but they probably won't. It's probably just how that game plays. Any opinions on Dragon Age 4? Are you interested at all? It's a long ways off, I think. I don't think we're getting it anytime soon.
BioWare fucked up so bad with the Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem that I know Mass Effect Andromeda was not the same team as did the original Mass Effect, but Anthem is a piece of shit. So my opinion stands. This game is going to have to be fucking lights out for me to even give a crap at all, because the last one that we played was Dragon's Age Inquisition, I think. I'm with you. Like, I did not like the combat at all. I liked everything else about the game. The combat is just fucking the way you control it and everything. I just didn't like it. I mean, I guess it's kind of BioWare, the way that it controls. It's like semi-active, where you're like holding down buttons and stuff, as opposed to being like a fully active button mashy kind of combo-y kind of combat. I'll be honest with you, I got to a point in that game where I was like 40 or 50 hours into it, and I was like, okay, I've had enough. And I just quit playing it probably 80% of the way through. I never finished it. I played it enough where I like was, kind of got my feelings, I got my feelings out with the game, and that was it. So this game is really going to have to blow me away. And if the combat is the same as it was in Inquisition in the earlier games, I won't play it at all, to be honest with you. Probably. I might play it, but probably not.
I agree. 100% agree with you. Next up was Unknown 9 Awakening. All we got was a cinematic trailer of this girl who had like superpowers. I guess it's coming to PS5. This game actually looked really, really cool. I mean, it wasn't even gameplay, but the idea looks kind of neat. The graphics look good. The cinematography, the cinematic trailer looked nice. I don't even know who's developing it. It looked good though. So I'm curious to see more on that title. Jake, did you watch that trailer, Unknown 9 Awakening?
I did not know. So I don't know really anything about it, but it's kind of a cool name.
Well, check it out.
Seems interesting. Is it like sci-fi?
No, I don't know what it is. That was the issue. It's like I couldn't really put my finger down on what they were going for. I don't know. The girl looked to have like a shemagh on, like I don't know. It's interesting. It's so hard to explain what it is. She was young. She was a younger girl. So here's the little thing. What is Unknown 9 Awakening story? It says here online that Unknown 9 Awakening tells the story of a young Indian girl who is able to access hidden dimensions with a supernatural ability. Little else is known, but developer Reflector Entertainment does get into specifics. This is from Inverse.com. I'm just reading on their website. It says, raised on the streets of Kolkata, India, and haunted by visions of her own death, Haruna struggles to understand her mysterious innate abilities to manipulate the unseen. A mentor soon helps Haruna hone her gifts, teaches her to access the mysterious hidden dimension known as the Fold, and propels her on a journey to unlock the mysteries of this new realm. It looks really, really interesting. I'm not going to lie. It looks cool. That's all I'm going to say about it. Check it out if you're curious about it. Jake, did you see that Doom Eternal is getting an expansion called Ancient Gods Part 1? It's coming out October 20th. It's coming out very soon.
Yeah, I knew they were doing an expansion for Doom Eternal, and that's exciting. Like I mentioned in the last podcast where we talked about our best favorite PS4 games of the generation, whatever. I'd mentioned that I prefer Doom 2016 to Doom Eternal. I do think that Doom Eternal is objectively a better game. Doom 2016 had more of an impact for me. That said, assuming the DLC or the add-on content or whatever you want to call it is not like fucking ridiculously expensive and it looks like there's good value, I'd be interested in playing it, because the appeal to that game is just kind of ripping through the game and just killing the shit out of demons. So if all they're doing is just adding levels and like crap like that, I mean, that's all you really need or want out of a Doom game expansion, really.
It looks to me like they put a lot of time into this, and if it's part one, it looks like it's going to be some story to it also, and it looks awesome. Like the trailer they showed was awesome. I highly recommend you check it out, man, if you haven't seen it. Up next was Walking Dead Bridge Constructor for the PS4. This looks like an iPhone game, if I'm being honest. I don't care anything about this. Warhammer Stormgrounds was announced. It's coming out in 2021. I don't know if it was announced, but they had a trailer for that. We're going to just keep moving on. Those Warhammer games are pretty cool. I don't know, Jake, you and I played one Warhammer game a long time ago. We fell in love with it. It was really good. But these games always look interesting, and there's many of them. There's Vermintide. There's all kinds of Warhammer games. And if I'm being honest, I haven't played nearly probably enough. I do have Space Hulk Tactics, which is a Warhammer world kind of game. But I don't know. Like, there's always a new Warhammer game. But this one looks cool. Jake?
I'm always like the Warhammer universe is really, really interesting. So it's really kind of a great universe to put any number of types of games in. I really wish that these games were being made by better developers, and instead of being like these B and C tier type games coming out, I wish that they were being made by like top tier developers, because I think you could make a really great game. There's all kinds of Warhammer games. Like the one Warhammer Space Marine, I think, was the one that we played that was really good. Which is a third-person kind of action RPG shooter. Not action RPG, it was like a third-person shooter. They did an RTS for PC called Warhammer Dawn of War, which was really fun. There was this kind of isometric sort of RPG kind of game, I think, Fred, that you and I played once together online on PS3, which was kind of interesting. They have these tactics games. They have these first-person shooter games. They have these online games like Vermintide and stuff. Like, it's a crazy... Like, there's literally probably... I feel like there's got to be 50 fucking Warhammer games, to be honest with you. Yeah, but probably of like the 3 or 4 of them that I've played, they've all been like good, but none of them have been amazing. Like we said, we both really liked Space Marine, and we talk about it a lot, how that game is like way, way underrated. It's one of those things where it's like, is it as good as other games in that generation? Is it as good as fucking Uncharted? No. Is it as good as, Call of Duty or any of these other like really top tier third person shooters? No, but it's still a great game. Like, I still think a lot of these Warhammer games are pretty good. There are some bad ones, but I think it looks like they're all mostly pretty good. And I know a lot of people really like those Vermintide games. I mean, they made a second one, so they have to be relatively successful. I think the biggest thing that Warhammer has going for it, the biggest thing the Warhammer has going for it is that the universe is just so interesting.
Yeah, I agree. What's really crazy about a lot of those Warhammer games, you'll see that like all the cinematics in those games are so badass. They're so badass, and that's what they sell the games on, I think, because all the trailers look so awesome. Then the gameplay is always kind of mediocre, at least the in-game footage. But they are getting better with them, so I'm waiting for like an awesome Warhammer game that just blows my socks off. Maybe Stormgrounds is going to be it. Who knows? Outriders, they had a little thing for Outriders 2020. It's coming out in 2020. I don't know much about Outriders. I know there's a lot of talk about it, but there's not enough talk about it for me to actually care about it. Jake, do you have an opinion on Outriders?
No. Isn't that the one that's like another like shared world shooter like Destiny and all the and Anthem?
It's going to be, yeah.
I remember seeing it.
And third person shooter. I didn't
really think that it could be fine. It could be great. It could be a piece of shit. It's one of those games where it's like, okay, there's another one. It's like Battle Royale. It's like, okay, when a game comes out and it blows everyone away and it's super successful and it lasts more than a week, then I'll pay attention to it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a 1 to 3 player co-op RPG shooter set in an original, dark, and desperate sci-fi universe. So it looks kind of cool, if I'm being honest. There's just so much stuff coming out that I don't know. They There was a Deep Silver is working on a game called Chorus. I don't know if you saw this. This game looks sick. This is like a space shooting flying game. It looks really, really cool. It's coming out in 2021. Did you see the trailer for Chorus?
No, I haven't. I'll be honest with you. I haven't had much of a chance to look at much of the Gamescom stuff, so I missed a lot of this. But
all right, well, I'm going to tell you, check that out. Check out a game called Chorus. Yeah, Little Nightmares 2 also might have been a new trailer. I don't know. Little Nightmares 2 was really good. I did buy Little Nightmares. The first one, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's like one of those puzzle platformer games. The imagery, the aesthetics, awesome in it. It's very Tim Burton-esque. It's a little scary. It's haunting. I don't know what the release date is on this. I can look it up. Jake, why don't you talk a little bit? Did you play Little Nightmares, the first one? I thought maybe you did. Maybe you didn't.
No, I never played Little Nightmares.
Oh, I thought you did. It's supposed to come out in 2020, so that was at least the initial release date. So the game looks really cool. Its developer is called Tarsier Studios at Tarsier. This game looks awesome. But anyways, Turrican is a re-release of an old game that's kind of unappreciated. Do you ever remember the Turrican game series? It's like a platformer.
No.
It was like a 1990 video game. I think it was developed for Commodore 64. But it was a really neat game. But apparently they have like this remake or whatever of Turrican or something. So people kind of lost their shit about this. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big Turrican fan or anything, and then we had Star Wars Squadrons, and they did say every mission's in VR, dude. So every mission is going to be VR compatible. So it's not like Ace Combat 7 where they're like, oh, this game's going to be VR compatible. And then you get it and there's only like 3 missions in VR and the rest of the game you have to play on the flat screen. Every mission in Star Wars Squadrons is going to be VR compatible, and it's going to be very story driven, it looks like, and it comes out October 2nd. So we have almost just a month to go before this game drops, and I think it's going to take the world by storm. It looks so good. It looks so good. You can play, part of the story is you are going to be a pilot for the Rebel Alliance, and you're also going to be a pilot for the Imperial folks. So and I guess both those pilots have their own different stories and they must meet somewhere in the middle, but you get to be each of them. And it looks like there's some interactions that you have inside the base as the pilot. The other people come up and they talk to you and they say, oh, you know, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? It looks really freaking awesome. This game looks so good. It's like a labor of love where it looks like they really got it right. Like these are people, it seems like the developer grew up playing X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, all those kind of games that were like so awesome in the LucasArts game world back in the day. So, and this is going to be a VR space flight Star Wars game, and it looks so good, dude. Jake, I mean, if this doesn't get you back into VR, I don't know what will.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested, but I'm also cautiously optimistic because if you remember whenever Battlefront 2 was announced and they showed all of that stuff around the campaign with like the woman who's is a Imperial trooper or whatever, and like it seemed like it would be really interesting, and that campaign ended up being kind of a dud. So the one thing that I will say is that Disney and Star Wars have a huge budget, so it's easy for them to make marketing materials that look fucking awesome, and then the game could come out and fall flat. So I'm cautiously, I hope it is everything that you're talking about because I used to love X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. So if it comes out and it's like that and it's got a decent campaign to boot and you can play it in VR, yeah, I definitely agree with you. I just hope it lives up to the expectation, or at least for the most part.
It will. This is the one I'm sold on. I think it's really gonna do it for everybody. Warframe, Heart of Deimos. I don't care about that. Warframe's awesome. Been doing it forever. It's a free to play game. People are so stoked on Warframe. People who do play it. I just never really got into it. I tried to. It was just too much for me. Override 2 Mech League comes out holiday 2020. Again, one of those games I don't really care much about. Jake, if you have anything you want to say about any of these, just chime in. We're getting a little long in the tooth here with the podcast. So I'm going to roll through the last couple games here. Fall Guys is getting an expansion, Season 1 expansion. Star Wars Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga is coming out spring 2021. That actually looked really good. If you like those Lego games, you can't really die in them and you just play them and there's like a lot of comedy in them and like they're always done so well. So the Skywalker Saga looks awesome. Spellbreak comes out on today. No, it comes out in 2 days. This is a free-to-play battle royale game, but it's kind of like a magic game, so like sorcerers and stuff, which is a different take on the battle royale thing. I'm over battle royale, don't really care about it, although the game does look kind of nice. Destiny 2 is getting an expansion or something called Beyond Light. Never played Destiny 2, should have, but never got to it, so I was too busy playing Ghost of Tsushima for the last year. So Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. There was another long gameplay trailer of this game. This game just looks so freaking awesome. That's the game that and Star Wars Squadrons are the two games that I'm most excited for. They were talking about, Jake, I think you should set your sights on Doom Eternal expansion. You should check out the Unknown 9 Awakening trailer. And then if you get a chance, check out that Chorus game and Little Nightmares 2, because those both look really sick too. Those would be the ones I would tell you to check out. So I do the work so you guys don't have to. Those are the ones I would look at, but if there's anything else on there that floats your boat, make sure you check it out. A lot of stuff was going on in Gamescom over the weekend. Jake, do you have anything else to add about Gamescom?
No, I mean, it's one of those things where it's kind of hard for it to be really hard-hitting with the state of the world right now. There's no big kind of conferences or anything like that. It's just kind of people releasing stuff online, which is cool. I'm glad that they're getting out there and doing something. None of this stuff is really blowing me up or anything like that as far as my interest. But that's mostly because other than maybe Star Wars, kind of just in a holding pattern until PS5. I mean, something else might come out and really kind of blow me away. But at this point, it's just, it's kind of like what's going on with PS5. I mean, mostly because we don't fucking know when it's coming out or what the release date is or what the price is or any of that stuff. So it's hard for anyone to even give a shit about stuff that's already been announced or is coming out for PS4 whenever they still won't tell us anything about the pricing of the next consoles or when they're coming out.
Well, I do want to remind folks, a long time ago, I told you that you're all sleeping on a game and it's going to be Game of the Year. It's called G.I. Joe Operation Blackout. And there is finally a trailer for this game. It does. It looks absolutely atrocious, but I'm still going to get it. I have to get it. I'm going to play it. I'm going to be so disappointed when it sucks. I have to play it. I just need to know what they do with it. Like, it just kills me. Yeah, I want it to be good. It looks terrible. Maybe it'll be fun. Apparently, there's a single player 18 mission campaign or something. It looks like garbage. It's like a third person shooter that it looks like it's one of those games where you just hold down the button and it just shoots at whatever bad guys are in front of you. You don't have to aim or something. It looks so bad. But I'm all in. I'm still going to check it out. Jake, last episode, you brought to my attention a game series called Wasteland 3. What I didn't realize is this game series has involvement from the creator of the first Fallout game. It makes total sense after having watched some of the videos of the game. And it's like the old school Fallout games on PC, but it's like more updated and there's a ton of voiceover, a lot of voice work, and it seemingly seems a little less linear than the original Fallout, which is weird. As far as character creation and all this kind of stuff that you have liberty over. So if you put stock in Metacritic, which maybe you shouldn't do necessarily, but it's got an 81 right now on Metacritic with a 7.4 user score. Push Square described it as Fallout with XCOM combat. But the game looked really, really cool to me, man. I'm not going to lie. Like, my sights are on this game, but it seems, first of all, it's a full game price, so it's $60. And then it's also this really long, it's like legit RPG. So like Jake was saying earlier, I don't know that I want to sink my teeth into something that's going to eat up all my time. So I don't know, Jake. This game does look sick. So thanks again for the recommendation on that game. I definitely was sleeping on Wasteland. I didn't realize what it was. So looks awesome.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, like I said, I played Wasteland 2 and it was a blast. My only issue with it is because it was a port from a PC game. They didn't fix like the small text and all that kind of crap. So it was just kind of hard to really. It made it kind of difficult to play, ergonomically speaking. So hopefully Wasteland 3 sort of solves all those. I haven't played it yet. I know it just came out or whatever, but yeah, it looks good. I mean, Wasteland just is kind of, if you like XCOM and stuff, I think you'll like it. It's a little deeper than XCOM as far as the RPG elements and the story elements. It's pretty cool. I'm glad you showed interest in it.
Yeah, they said that like a lot of the decisions you make in the game have like a lot of effect on the decision tree and all that stuff, the way that the game plays out. And there's a lot of different paths that you can take playing this game. And if you play it a second time, which you probably won't if it's a million hours to play, but if you do, chances chances are you can get a completely different ending, different situations, different side quests, all the different stuff will pop up. So new games coming to the PSN this week include Spellbreak. We talked about that. That was a Gamescom. That was a Battle Royale game coming out in 9.3. I don't know what WRC 9 is, but that's coming out. Doraemon, Story of Seasons, Marvel's Avengers, which is a big game that some people were talking about. Some people said it looked terrible. Some people played it and said they didn't like it. Some people probably really like it, just like with everything. Some people are going to dig it. Some people aren't going to dig it. I have no interest in it. NBA 2K1 and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 comes out this week. So that's kind of exciting. That's all I've got for the show, Mr. Peters. Jake, do you have anything you'd like to add? We're pushing on about an hour. After it gets edited down, we're probably sitting around an hour or so. So it's up to you if you have anything else you'd like to talk about. I appreciate everybody tuning into the show.
I didn't realize that Tony Hawk was coming out this week. I will definitely be playing that because that is like the perfect game for my fucking palate cleanser after all this horse shit. So I say horse shit with the most love in the world because I do like the games we've been playing, but Tony Hawk would be the perfect palate cleanser after Ghost of Tsushima for sure.
Yeah, man, 100%. So I don't know what the price point is going to be on it, though. I couldn't tell you how much they're going to charge for it. I mean, I would hope like maybe 40. They'll probably charge full price, though. They'll probably go 60. They had to get all those different music, and they had to – I mean, it takes a lot of time to remake a game like that. So – and it's 2 games technically, so I'm sure it's probably $60. But if you get that, let me know what you think of it, dude. So I guess that's it for the show. Like I was saying, appreciate you guys all tuning into the podcast. We do put the podcast up on our YouTube channel. I have not been doing many video reactions lately. I've been really busy with the band. Jake and I are working on, we got the Flood. We're going to be demoing some stuff there. I just recorded 2 songs for a split I'm doing with a buddy of mine. One of my punk rock band is doing a 3rd record right now. We're writing and recording that. On top of that, we're doing the podcast. We're trying to play Ghost of Tsushima. I'm doing house stuff and working full time. So I don't know, Jake. I'm just glad we're able to still do the podcast for everybody. And, if you have a problem with what we're talking about, then that's on you, not us. But we do appreciate you being here. I wish that we could get through Ghost of Tsushima just as much as you wish we could. And we are approaching Act 3, which means we will be through it soon. And Jake and I will probably do a little bit of a more recap on the game when we finish it. Although I don't know that I'm even going to feel like talking about it when it's over. There might be a couple points or spoilers that I'd like to talk about, Jake, but I think maybe when this game's done, we're just have to put it to rest and then just move on, like you said. It's way longer than I expected.
Yeah, I think that it'd be nice to maybe at least we could do a part of a show where we talk about our what we liked and what we didn't like, especially about the story beats and things like that. But I don't know that we need to dedicate a whole episode to it or anything.
I agree. Sounds good. Other thing is, Jake, I know that is another long game, but the Valkyria Chronicles, again, is on sale on the PSN, 1 and 2, the bundle, for $20, I think. So I'm telling you, don't sleep on it. It's so good. But anyways, I'll let you guys go. Thanks again for tuning into the show. Share it with your friends. Tell everybody how great of a podcast it is, and maybe we can get a couple more people to write into the show, talk about some different things. We are all ears, and thanks for listening. Like Vandal Hearts, Valkyria Chronicles, and Vampire. P.S. This is awesome.